Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to your reading with me, Cindy. So, my dear Saggies, we're going to see what the universe would like to say to you right now. What would the universe like to talk to you about? If the universe could be a voice, here it is. We're going to do it for you. I'm going to use my Fountain Tarot. What a nice card you have at the bottom after the pre-shuffle. You have the Ace of Cups. Nice. And we're going to use the Fountain Tarot and my teeny tiny Everyday Witch Tarot. Yeah, I'm just feeling actually in your energy kind of a sense of peace. That's all I would use to describe it right now. It's just kind of your energy feels peaceful. I don't know if your world is peaceful or maybe you're just catching this video and it's sort of a moment of peace for you. So let's see. It's general, so it may or may not resonate. If it does resonate and you're drawn to it, there is an extended. The link to that is at the top of the description within this video. All right, Sagittarius. This deck is shuffling nicely for you. Kind of shuffling nicely after I turn it around. So maybe you've turned things around for yourself. You're turning things around. Things are moving more smoothly. All right, what would the universe like to say to you? To talk to you about. For some reason I'm seeing the Ace of Wands in my head, but I feel like that's the card coming out. No, it's not the card coming out. We have a few cards coming out. Okay, we have this. This is something separate from what we have here. We have the Four of Coins and the Star. Holding fast to your dreams. I'm just hearing. Holding fast to your dreams. I feel like you're really actually, yeah, with the Star. Because what I'm noticing, what I'm being drawn to, I was looking at the, told to look at the forest in the background and kind of realizing, look at that. The tent is not sitting in the forest, which seems like a really odd place for the tent to be, particularly in the winter, because the forest would be an area of shelter. So creating your own shelter. You've been working on creating your own shelter, but this also feels like stepping outside of what may be expected of you, what even may or may not make sense to other people, going it alone, relying on pretty much solely on what you can provide for yourself, including shelter. That shelter could symbolize something physical in your life. I mean, we are talking about coins, but bringing the Star in too, because this can really be about going after your dreams, but it's Aquarian energy. So it can be a little bit unusual. Like, it does seem unusual to me. I've never really noticed it or thought about it before, but that tent is sitting outside of the forest, out into the exposed elements there. So maybe you are exposing parts of yourself to follow your dreams here, or you're about to do that. But it's really curious though, because you have provided some protection around yourself in this. I can't help but think, and I'm not sure what the message is with this. I mean, maybe it is someone. It looks like a pole dancer, the way she's swinging on the pole. Maybe you're taking up dance. Maybe you're taking up some sort of rhythmic movement that's helping you sort of release deeper parts of yourself here. Maybe you're pole dancing too. Maybe you'd like to learn pole dancing. I think it's very athletic. Have you ever seen that on YouTube? These people, they hold themselves like straight out under the pole. So there is a sense of having some sort of inner strength here, believing that you can do something when no one else thinks that you can too. Standing alone outside of the forest. I really feel like for some of you, there's a lot of naysayers. This forest is just feeling like the naysayers, but there's an element of stubbornness on your part. I'm getting with the tent, like turning your back. The tent is turned away from the forest. The opening to the tent is not looking at the forest. So you really try not to look at any of the naysayers in your life. Now also, following your dreams does involve going into some sort of darker element here. because it's very, very dark around the star. But you see, that's the key. Without the darkness, you'll never find the light. Whoa. Okay, coming out into the light from the darkness of the forest, but realizing the true darkness that you need to explore is not other people's perception of darkness. It's not other people's impressions of who you should be or what is dark or what is acceptable or not acceptable within you. It is finding your own darkness to shine your light. Because the forest, you would think, would be a place that would be much darker than outside of it. And it would be. Theoretically speaking, it should be. So, and then you get out into the light. This is almost as if you've gone through a moment here where you've pulled away from, it could be a dark influence in your life somehow, whether that shows up as a person, a place, or a thing. And pulling away from that, knowing that you're going to find your light, and you get into your light. You've got the light of day around you now, and there's really nothing else to influence that except your own shell and how you contain it. But then once you get there, you realize the answers were in the dark, but just not in that darkness. So now I've got to go into my own darkness and find my light and search for my dreams and reach the stars. Aim for the stars and hit the cosmos. Yeah, that's nice. Usually we're aiming for the stars and hitting the sun, but I have this sense of aiming for the stars and hitting the cosmos. What's all this? Oh, damn you. Look at this. Yeah, you'll fire into wealth. What am I going to say? You have the Strength card, the Queen of Wands, and the Ten of Pentacles. It's even like starting with very, very little. Kind of going out on your own. It kind of has that feeling, that element of someone who's, oh, I hope it's going to be okay. There's a robin. There's a robin who's been hanging around my house, and it's getting much too cold for him. And I haven't seen a robin at all summer around this area. I have a feeling this is his last winter. Well, at least he has a safe place to be. I told him he could stay. I saw him the other morning. Anyways, it has this feeling, oh, wow, maybe that meant something too. A safe place to be. Because what I wanted to say is this has the feeling of like a teenager or someone in their early 20s who is feeling kind of dominated and suppressed by the environment that they're in. And that could be school or that could be home. It just feels a little bit more like it could be a home environment. It could be like something that your parents may perceive, or somebody in your family, an uncle or an aunt or your siblings, whatever that is. It has their own perceptions of what they think your strengths and weaknesses are. And really like just needing to pull away from what other people's concepts of what your strengths and weaknesses are. That becomes a dark place, but it's their dark place. It's not really something that you're meant to go into. So it feels like just going out on your own. Like you don't have much money. Maybe you've saved up what you can. You found a little tiny, teeny bachelor apartment in a hole in the wall somewhere, but that's your place. And then when you get there, everything kind of becomes quiet and peaceful. But within that, your own peace that you found, you're coming to an epiphany about the darkness that you do need to explore, which is your own. And some of that could be related to things that you've heard, impressions that have been made upon you while you've been growing, getting used to this human bodysuit that you're in, the shell. But it's starting off very small. There's just 4 coins here. Oh, each coin symbolizes something. Let's go back to that. We're going to explore that because there's 4 elements here. 4 practical, tangible elements here that symbolize something that you have or had that you were using to go forward. Now look at, because it grows. Each one of these grows. It's like they multiply onto each other somehow. They're 2 pairs. Oh, I'm going to stop channeling. I'm going to go back to that. I'm actually going to clarify that specifically. So the Strength card, this is it. This is finding exactly what it is that you needed to find in your own darkness, and had nothing to do with other people's darknesses, their impression of what you should or shouldn't be. I think a lot of people face that. Like this, I mean, I'm sure this is general reading, but I think a lot of people face that. And it doesn't always have to show up as a parent. It can show up as some other strong influence in your life. Right? I mean, the best way to mentor anybody is just to kind of be supportive for them. Try to give them the guidance that you can. Sometimes. Sagittarius, though, you're mutable. So you're mutable, so you can take on the influence of others, but there's just this driving need for you to go forward and find your space. So perhaps that's part of what this is. Your mutability. Your mutability has allowed some elements of other people's darkness. Because oh, gosh. Oh, no. Okay, the stripes in the tent are reminding me very much of the uniforms that you would see people wearing in concentration camps. Things like that. I'm not really getting the prison system. Aren't those stripes? Yeah. So really coming from a place that felt very suppressive, it could have even felt sort of dangerous to your own spiritual and emotional and human being growth. And two, the chant, so the chant represents the shell that you have to move away from things that might seem illogical to other people. But those other people are not living your life, and they only understand life through the eyes of the footsteps that they've taken thus far. And if we think about people too that might be older than you, they've lived in a completely different time, and things are always changing. So their time and their understanding is not really, it's not something that could be applied to where you are right now. That's coming around again to, someone else had some message similar to this last week. I don't know if it was you, where I talked about, I've been watching Seinfeld on Netflix and coming to the realization that it's so iconic to that time period. Because it's always just about nothing. Like it's in Jerry's house. It's them meeting at a restaurant. It's them just being like real social misfits. But half the time it's miscommunication, trying to track someone down, waiting for someone to show up, because there's no cell phones. There's no cell phones. There's no technology really outside of, basic cars, fridge, stove, microwave. I don't even think he has a microwave. But that's what I'm getting at is this part of like seeing beyond what might appear, because you're mutable. You're taking some of this on, or you have taken some of it on. And it almost is like creating your own sort of, your own prison camp for yourself. And in that, it's very constraining. It holds you back. It holds you back, almost saying you're not going forward. I'm not letting you go forward until I really understand, you really understand what it is that holds you back. That's what it is. It's understanding what it is that really holds you back. Because being this mutable force, it's like that's your alchemy. It's you take it in, it affects you. You may not even understand that it's affecting you, and still you hit something and it doesn't feel right, or maybe it accumulates to such a point. And then you need to alchemize this, because the alchemization is learning the lesson and understanding that it may not be for you, but it still has value. And then taking that into your own darkness, that kind of is your own darkness. Is that even though it's not for you, it might still have some value. And the biggest value of all is understanding who you are. And there we have, right? That's how the strength plays out. And then you have the Queen of Wands, not afraid to shine your light, knowing that the light that you have, the cosmos that you were reaching for, are actually inside you. They're deep inside of you, the cosmos that you were reaching for. And then glowing that, expressing it, moving through it, and finding almost, see, this is such an interesting card, because you walk through the archway and you go into darkness. And when you go through the other side of the archway, there's light again. You have to build things up to break them down. Sagittarius. That's what the universe is really here to talk to you about. You have to build things up and break them down, and build things up and break them down. And that is very much alchemy. When you build something, so when you're building something up from things that are broken down within you, if we think about like true alchemization, base metals into gold, and you've got all this gold sitting here. But the thing is, nothing lasts forever, and everything shifts and changes. Structural integrity can become, can decrease over time through stress. The elements, the facts of three-dimension life. Everything weathers, everything erodes. So being part of that process, but being mutable, you actually have the capacity to really flow in and out of breaking down and building up and breaking down and building up. And then each time it feels like you break down and build up, you hit a higher point when you build up. Because this is walking in and out of the darkness over and over again. This is a process. So this is a process of your life. That you will be doing this throughout your life. You are temperance, you are alchemy. So there's the explanation. You'll always be walking in and out of the dark because dark energy of others, you're kind of meant to take it on because you're meant to break it down. And you're meant to build it up, and you're meant to break each situation, each new relationship, place that you find yourself. This might show up in really tiny things. You know, it might show up in a 2-hour conference with a group of people, and you take ideas on, and you might even say, well, yeah, that seems legit. And then you start to break it down, even in that time period, and say, wait a second, no, I can understand how that has value over here, but that does not have value with where I'm going with it. And then sometimes it could take, maybe this is a week process or a month, but this is your process. Oh, what was at the bottom? Oh, the 5 of Wands and the Empress. Wow. Talk about it. Look at every time you know what I just talked about. Maybe it's a 2-hour conference with a group of people and taking it on and breaking it down. Like doing better. The 5 of Wands is all about doing something better, striving to do better. But usually you have to kind of work out the disagreement first, the conflict first to do better. You have to find where the conflict is. Where does the conflict sit within you? And then when you find that, you shine. And then you glow in this 3-dimension with the Empress and write your 10 of coins. Okay, what I really want to clarify here, all of a sudden my voice got really echoey. Oh, that's weird. It just reminded me of a dream that I had last night that I forgot about. Yeah, I had a dream that these people were using these special devices to make their voices sound really different. And one sounded like really like far off and echoey, and someone else used something to change their voice. It sounded like a witch. I thought, well, that's really cool. Like one of those. I don't know what happened. I think my alarm went off and I hit okay and fell back to sleep. Okay, I need 4 cards here because each one of these 4 pentacles, it represents the true beginning. Having very, very little on your back. Having what you could just take with you that others can't see. Because again, it's reminding me of like a concentration camp. It just feels like that uniform. I think it's meant to. It looks so much like it. Like it's not black. It's this sort of Payne's gray color with this dirty white. And when you think of that, anything that you could have taken in there, you would have had to have hid in a really strategic way. But these 4 things are what you had left. Maybe it's just almost like, now I'm getting very metaphorical. Maybe it's metaphysical. But each one of these coins represents something that you can barter with in an environment where there's very little to barter with. So that gives you the capacity to grow somehow. So you find out that somebody brings sausages in, you know, but you and a group of people are not getting enough food, but you've got this one coin that you can barter with now. And then you grow on that. So then all these other people feel like, you know, you may not even be asking anything back from them, but they feel a sense of like reciprocity, wanting to give something back to you when they can. And before you know it, even without asking of it, you walk out with this 10. Okay, so I'm going to shuffle this, and I want to specifically pull out 4. Each one of these coins represents, that was, I think, the page of coins. Let's do a little tiny split. 1, the Hierophant. 2, the 3 of Wands. 4, the King of Cups. 5, the 9 of Swords. You have every element here. I mean, the Hierophant is a major arcana, but it is Taurus energy, so it is, you know, the 5 of Swords at the bottom and the Lovers. Look at that, alchemy. Alchemizing. Oh, no, there's something behind that. Shit, I didn't even see you there. And it's in the upright, the Queen of Wands. King of Wands is behind that, but in the reverse. So that's not a time to talk about that right now. You have Pentacles, Wands. You're the Magician. You have them all here. You have Cups, Swords, Wands, Fire, and then your Earth element shows up as the Hierophant. So this is your strongest element, whether you realize it or not. Well, I think really it could be. I think it could be everybody's strongest element, because we are in the 3 dimension. So if you can recognize that, you can utilize these other dimensions that aren't tangible. You can bring them into this tangible dimension, this real physical dimension. Oh, just shut the front door. She's got striped pants on that match the tent. Look at, they're the same color. Now, I don't know if it's showing up, but the kids in the picture that she's sitting with have striped pants too, but they both have a different color going on. So this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This is almost utilizing, you're taking what has been given to you by your ancestors, by past experiences. You've absorbed it in your own unique spongy way. And then you've recognized that it has value, but it's not my path. And I can separate myself and find my own true darkness. But in that now, so your capacity is to move this forward, is to not function. It is to function with the same intent, but a different approach of what you experienced in the past. So the intent is still for you as you move forward is to kind of show others. It is very much that wand energy, kind of living through experience, leading through experience, that you can share your experience, but it doesn't mean that anyone has to take it as a label onto them. Because you are showing up as kind of like a leader here in this Hierophant energy. But to be a true leader, you have to almost ostracize yourself, perhaps. Well, what's that? It's the lonely at the top, right? And then you have the 3 of Wands. This is allowing things to come in. There's that Magician element. This is your strong Magician element, which would make sense, being fire energy. I mean, it's the only one where they're holding a magic wand and they're bringing something in. You've planted your seed. You know it's coming in. Your intention is strong. It's clear now. The King of Cups. This is a deep emotional. This is interesting to have the King of Cups and the 9 of Swords. But it actually, everything that's happening here feels like it serves your higher good. So thinking about things until you just can't think about them anymore. trying to plan and strategize, worrying about the worst case scenario. And some of that might be coming through because you have experienced darkness. So we all have a reactive instinct to, you know, if this has happened before, it might just happen again. If it's happened 2 or 3 or 4 times, it might just happen 5 or 6 times. Kind of getting that into your head. But you have a very, very mature element here in terms of your emotions and your feelings. Looking out too. Oh God, I love this because look at the 3 of Wands. There's a process that's occurring between these 2 points in time in a manifestation process. So with the having the wand, putting your manifestation out into the world, and then just as you're about to expect it to come in, because he's sitting there and he's ready to look for it with his telescope in his hand. But you might not see it on the horizon as fast as you think. Because this goes into the 9 of Swords. Oh, hi guys. There's so many birds now that's getting cold. I have a junco and we have another purple finch. And one can keep an update on the birds coming in. You know, it feels like, but this is part of your alchemy somehow. Somehow the power of your brain is part of your alchemy, the thought process. Because she's actually, her energy is directed to this entire spread. It can too have a feeling of, oh, now the Blue Jay's in. With the 5 of Wands and the 5 of Swords and the Morning Dove. Wow, we're getting really busy here, guys. The 5 of Wands and the 5 of Swords, like conflict. It's almost realizing that conflict is actually needed in your life in different ways so that you can grow. And it's not always easy. Maybe there's been more difficult conflicts that you've gone through. Now let's look at the Star. I'm going to look at the Star and the 10 of Coins for you. The Star is linked over here. I feel like it wanted to jump over here and tell us something. The 4 of Cups. Oh, this is going in, right? Looking at your own darkness. I'm getting a lot with this 4 of Cups lately, like a sense of self-sacrifice. Oh! The Morning Doves were just fighting with the Blue Jay. That's so unusual. Conflict. Conflict and resolution. Something weird going on with this reading and what's going on outside that door. The birds are playing out like a theatrical presentation for us. And now a fire alarm or some sort of alarm. The 4 of Cups, though, is a lot about self-sacrifice, because I feel like there's a focus here. There's a focus on these negative things. Focusing on the negative things and passing up opportunities because it's just not the time. And that's coming in as a Star. You're focused on, and when I say focus on negative things, I really need to clarify that, because if you focus on negative things outside of you and you allow that to affect you fairly readily, that's not going to be good. That's gonna pull you back into the energy that we talked about you walking away from. This is focusing on sort of the part that you played in negative things that have happened to you, what you could or could not have done, red flags that you could or could not have seen, how you would make choices differently, all of that. But then really there should not really be any sense of regret in this when you're going into the Star, because without those experiences you wouldn't be where you are right now. This is the complete opposite actually of focusing on negative things outside of you and projecting that or taking it on or allowing it to affect your day or how you feel. Whereas this is focusing on the negative within you, the negative experience, but alchemizing it. Try not to. I mean, I guess there is a danger of the 9 of Swords of overthinking too much, but you have a very strong cup energy. So you should be able to do this. But that's the focus, right? That's the focus, is the emotional fulfillment here. How are you fulfilling your emotions? And that's the key of what you're looking at inside of yourself. And so, yes, there are good things outside of you, but not noticing it. But with the star here, I think it's an important process. Otherwise, you would likely project these things onto positive things around you. Yeah, okay. So let's just go to the 10 of coins. The 10 of coins. The Magician. Oh, and the Empress. Yeah, I told you, you're making big stuff, baby. The Justice card was poking me. I slid it back in. Wow. Lots of major arcana. The Magician, the Judgment, the 7 of Pentacles, and the Empress. Oh, it's a new day and a new plan. I'm just getting that with Judgment and the 7 of Pentacles. It's a new day and a new plan. What did I say you were with these 4 elements of the tarot? Each one is represented here, and the Pentacles are your strongest. Of course, the Pentacle is what you're showing up with. Let's be practical here. And now the Magician. Showing up in all your glory. And I think the next thing that will be utilized is the Cup. Once you hit this 10. Because the Cup is sitting right in front of him at the table, and there's something glowing. It's almost like this glowing star above the Cup. It's also around the heart chakra, but I would also say that that's also associated with the Cup, with emotions and feelings. This is the strongest way to manifest. If you've been manifesting like a beast through a very practical way, when you shift this after doing the alchemy that you're doing, and you shift this into Cup energy, it is a glorious day. Because you have Judgment, you have a new beginning. There's a nice little tune. It's following the song of your soul. Having a whole new strategy here, and that creates, oh, it's your emotions driving your practical experience. And that creates growth in the 3D realm. That's what you got. Oh, we're ending perfectly because I'm finished now. We have the Star, right? The Star and the 3 of Cups. So there you go. Celebration, joy, happiness, new friendships, new connections. All good things. That's awesome, Sagittarius. I don't even know what to call this. Just maybe that. That's awesome. You're awesome. Okay, I'm going to go to this extended. Until next time, you be gentle with yourselves. Bye.